Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with these two amazing guests. We have Nikolai Coster-Waldau. I also have Prajakta Kohli, who is a digital creator, actor, and author with over 18 million followers. She's best known for her lead role in Netflix's Mismatched. In 2025, she debuted her debut romance novel, Too Good to Be True. She was also named Time 100 Creators 2025 and GQ's Most Influential Young People, Indians. Prajakta, do you share in this optimism? And why not? Or why not?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I also understand that it's honestly for someone who's been working with it, and I understand where you come from because you've spent so much time in kind of working on this. Beyond a point, I think also as creators who are speaking about this, it could get extremely demotivating and exhausting if we didn't have the optimism to hold on to. But having said that, I feel like it's not passive optimism. I think it's more than that. It comes with a sense of urgency. It comes from a sense of young people actually being aware of what is happening. So yes, I do look at the optimistic side of things, but not without a sense of urgency.
Sure. I would love to ask you both, but starting with you, about mobilizing young people and getting them involved in the climate movement. You've obviously done a great job of this, but what are some of the things that you've learned and things that we could be doing?
I think there were two things when I started working in climate action that kind of helped me in understanding how to get the stories through easier. Number one was, for the longest time when we spoke to younger people about climate action, there were such big words used. You know, there were so many stats and there were so many numbers and there were so many diagrams and charts, and it got very overwhelming for us to understand what it actually means. It reached a point where everybody was speaking to us in numbers, and we realized that, you know what, okay, if we don't understand it, maybe we cannot make a difference to help it. So maybe the organizations will do it, or the bigger corporations will do it. But when we started kind of breaking down conversation around climate change into easier, smaller, digestibles, I think it got more kind of organic reaction, is what I learned from the audience. And number two, I think a lot of the younger people today also look at climate change kind of as climate justice, in the sense that they come from a place of feeling like, why are we kind of paying for something that we had the least contribution to, But at the same time, they come from a place of having the most awareness about what's going on. They come from a place of having resources to kind of understand how to work towards it instead of just sitting and complaining about it. So it's a very informed and also a very powerful position that the young people in the world today stand at, because more than half of the world's population is less than 30 years of age, and that says a lot. So yeah.
Kind of as you touched on, both of you, there's so many different segments of climate change and the challenges behind it. As you see it so large, how do you break it down? How do you focus, especially maybe in the show specifically? How are you looking at it in a way that you're okay, this is the story that we need to be telling? To that, are there any specific UNDP climate projects that you have found interesting that are worth kind of discussing?
Oh yeah, 100%. So my name is Prajakta Kohli. I come from the Kohli community, which is from the coast of Maharashtra. That's the state that I'm from, and we're an indigenous community in my state. So I remember one of the projects that's very, very close to my heart is UNDP does this mangrove planting, very similar to what's happening in Odisha as well. Across the beaches of Vengurla, Sindhudurga, all the way down to Goa. And they have mobilized these women in the villages actually to kind of, while the men farm fish, which is again a UNDP project, the women have actually started taking tours of the mangroves. So they know each and every single plant that grows in the mangrove. They will take you on a tour. They will row the boat through the mangroves. They also have these beautiful home kitchens that they've opened up for everybody who comes for tours. So you sit down and they'll cook for you, and it's such a wholesome experience. And I feel like that was one of the reasons that I kind of feel very special to be in this position with UNDP, because I get to work with stories and people who kind of are so close to where I come from as well. But other than that, I've had the pleasure with working in plastic management, the pleasure of working around again, a lot of mangroves work that's happening across the coast. So yeah.
Same to you. Is there any sort of specific projects or climate initiatives that you maybe learned about while filming the show that really stuck out to you as something that would be, good for the future and
this. When it came to when it comes to kind of communicating these issues through, I think some vehicles that work really, really well is something as simple as just your comment section. If you are from a big corporation who's working in this, the good thing about the internet is that we are very, very loud on it. All our questions, we do not think twice before asking them. We do not mince our words. The young people today are very, very open about having conversations about things that are hard. So if you could just start there and understanding what is it that they want to understand, what is it about the work that we all have been doing that they want to work on more, and finding out ways to kind of collaborate with them could be a great way to kind of make it more lucrative.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think, like, to that, I'd love to hear you talk about it breaking through, like, apathy almost, because there's so much information. And as you said, social media can be so loud. And I find, especially, like, with young readers at Teen Vogue, they're getting so much, and it's often hard to suss out what's real, what's fake, what they should care about. How do you break through that noise to give the real information and mobilize people?
I also think kind of beginning with taking responsibility for yourself as well. A lot of times we kind of sit in places where we're like, oh, it's that person's fault and it's this person's fault and he did this, so I'm suffering. I feel like in some way or the other, obviously some more than others, you kind of also have to realize that you as fortunate as we are to be a part of the solution, we also are a part of the problem. There are things that we have done that has kind of gotten us here in whatever way. I mean, no blame game there. But so I think as a young person, or as anyone actually who wants to kind of understand about climate change, it is your moral responsibility to educate yourself about it and to have a very informed opinion. So that kind of helps you in filtering out a lot of the noise which comes to you, where that helps you have an objective opinion on what could be real and what could be fake, and that kind of gives you more direction in understanding what kind of work you want to continue doing, I guess.
Absolutely. And we just have a few seconds left, so I feel like I would love to wrap it up with the maybe not the one thing, but one thing that is keeping you optimistic about the planet in the spirit of the show.
I honestly, the one thing that keeps me going is the fact that this is the most conversation we've had around climate change ever and every year that we keep it going forward, it keeps getting intense. We have more people joining us. So very similar to actually what Nikolai said. I think I sometimes have delusional belief in mankind, and I would like to hang on to that because I don't see another way to go about this.
I agree with both of those things. Thank you both.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.